I would like to today talk based on the Dharma message of President Niwano. And as you just heard the president message of this month, the title was Cultivate Your Mind and Unearth Your Buddha Nature. Cultivate your mind and unearth your Buddha nature. And the key central part of the talk was actually the dialogue between Shakyamuni Buddha and the farmer or Brahman who was doing the farming in there. I just want to show something here. Hold on, please. Yes, so this is what I want to say. What did you take from this dialogue between Shakyamuni Buddha and the Brahman? I want to just draw your attention here. If it goes like when a Brahma saw Shakyamuni Buddha coming for alms, he asked the Buddha in a stern tone, "Why don't you also cultivate fields, sow seeds, and then reap some food from your efforts?" I feel some rude attitude from this person, the Brahman. And but how was the Buddha? How did he reply? He calmly replied to him, "I also cultivate fields and sow seeds." Wow, what are you talking about? You don't have plow, no seeds, no ox, basically nothing for farming. How come you are cultivating and sowing seeds? Buddha used, as of course, skillful means to teach people who are about to start cultivating their farmland that sowing seeds of faith and nurturing them and cultivating the mind is just as important as cultivating the farmland. Buddha is brilliant, of course. A professor, a Japanese professor professor of Buddhism, Dr. Mizutani, he praised here. Shakyamuni Buddha is showing us the whole picture and essence of Buddhism in a detailed and concrete manner in this dialogue. Buddha's reply in the dialogue is a teaching not only for that farming Brahman, but it is a great teaching to all of us, the followers of Buddhism, including us. Plowing and sowing in heart, on the one hand, plowing and sowing in the farmland, on the other hand. In this verse are summarized like this. So as you see, very obvious, of course, the faith, Buddha says faith, which is the seeds. Self-discipline is a rain, important rain. Wisdom is a plow. It's a very important tool. That is a wisdom. Humility plows shafts. Mind, harness. Reflection, plowshare, pitchfork. Restraint in body and speech. Not overeat. Upholding the truth, which means mowing grass. flexibility, removing the yoke. Diligence, load-bearing ox. And then finally, tranquility, no fear, no anxiety, reward of immortality, and free from suffering. This is the harvest. This is the grain they harvest. I'm sorry that I'm not familiar with the name of farming tool, some of the farming tool, but I can understand at least the equivalent Buddhist practice side anyway. Just as the seeds grow and produce grains, the seed of faith grows and brings peaceful state of mind and freedom from suffering. This is a wonderful comparison, contrast. Probably we can reflect ourselves and relate to our own experience. For example, what was the seed of faith for you? And when it was planted? For me, I think the seed of faith was planted in my heart when I was studying in England as a young man, troubled, isolated, and depressed. At that time, I read in a book by the founder Niwano that my life is one with the universe. My heart was suddenly lightened. I remember I decided at the time when I go back to Japan, I would join Rishoko Sekai and study Buddhism. That was the beginning of my Dharma journey. I think that was when the seed was planted. One American high school student was introduced to Buddhism and its teaching, including the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, in his high school religion class. And he thought Buddhism might be the solution to his suffering. His hope must have been the seed of his faith. He then searched and found one local Buddhist center nearby. That happened to be Rishoko Sekai. That guy, is now a wonderful associate minister serving in Seattle. You may also recall the time when a seed of faith was planted in you. When was it and how did it grow? Just like a rain, someone may have helped nurture the seed, and you may have had put lots of effort to nurture and grow it. It seems to me a plow plays a significant role in farming. So does wisdom play a very important role in cultivating our heart. Those of you who are born in the Buddhist culture, Buddhist countries, may have been exposed to important Buddha's words since your childhood. Your parents and people around you may have spoken or exemplified in their action important Buddhist wisdom that may have influenced you. Dr. Dominic's lecture must have helped you to cultivate your mind. And yes, my mind too. If the various study sessions and Hosa meeting at IBC were the opportunities for you to further understand the teaching and helped you grow your seed, I'm very, very happy. Also, various practices cultivate the mind, as the dialogue explained. Attending Sanga gatherings like this, even on Sundays, a mind of humility and reflection, good words and good deeds, just like nurturing the seed and growing a plant. Each Buddhist practice leads to good result or reward. That is, attaining a state of peace and liberation, or living in peace and fulfillment. The title of this message, as I repeatedly saying, cultivate your heart and unearth your Buddha nature. Is there anybody who is doing farming? You raise your hand. I think Reverend Goto is also the farming person. And those who know, experience the farming, you can understand what the President Niwano explained about the difference between tilled land and untilled land. Tilled land is very warm and soft, whereas untilled is very tough and very hard. He just comparing it, and then he said, well-cultivated mind is flexible, free of attachments, and can absorb anything honestly, just the way it is. So let me show you. Okay. So well-cultivated land, a well-cultivated mind. Well-plowed soil, flexible, free of attachment, absorb water and fertilizer. And well-cultivated mind, flexible, free of attachment, absorb anything honestly. This is kind of a comparison between heart and mind and farming. When the soil is well cultivated, the soil is soft and warm and easy for things to come out, even the Buddha. In this regard, the title of the Dharma message is very significant. Cultivate your mind and unearth your Buddha nature. It means when we cultivate our mind, then the Buddha in ourselves appear. In this sense, I recall one Dharma journey at Great Sacred Hall, which was April 1st this year. I just would like to share one part of the part of her Dharma journey, which was April at the Great Sacred Hall. I just translated into English. I just want to read. It's very interesting. It's a lady. The other day, I was shopping at a large supermarket. A man suddenly started yelling in a loud voice, "Hey, we are all waiting in line. Why are you coming in from the side to pay for your groceries?" He looked as if he was about to start a riot. Many people were looking at him anxiously from a distance, and I was also standing and just watching. At that moment, that man spoke to me. "Hey, sister." I was surprised that he spoke to me, but I decided to listen to the person's story in silence while thinking of the Buddha. She's great. And he thought, he is not just angry about this incident, but he must be carrying some sadness or pain that he cannot tell anyone. I nodded my head and listened silently. The man suddenly turned serious and asked me, "Hey, what do you think, sister? You said that's on behalf of others, right?" His face relaxed a little and he said, "That's right, that's right." I said, "I'm sure the people around you felt the same way. Thank you for saying something difficult to say on behalf of everyone. But please, your blood pressure is rising. So let's leave here and go home, shall we?" And as quickly as I could, I grabbed the man's arm and walked away from that place. As we walked away, he said, "I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to talk like that. But, sister, I'm not going back this way. I'm going that way." He pointed in the opposite direction. He said shyly, "I'm fine now. Thanks." So I smiled and said goodbye to him. As I was about to leave, one of the people in the supermarket came up to me and said, "I saw the whole thing. You did a brave thing. I couldn't help but speak to you." In the New Year's Dharma message of President Niwano, he said, "We should be compassionate in word and deed and undertake bodhisattva practice in our places of work, in our schools, and in our communities and homes. Let us carry on steadily, even if it is not appreciated." It was an event that enabled me to take the first step toward illuminating a corner of the world, illuminating a corner of the world. This is the story. This is the story she spoke at the Great Circle several months ago. I was very much touched. I just wanted to share because this is exactly something cultivate our heart, unearth the Buddha nature. In this, I think this branch leader, she's a branch leader, actually, Shibucho, planted the seed of faith in herself many years ago. And I am sure that she's been cultivating her heart for many years in the Sanga of Rishoko Sekai. When she felt like running away, she decided to listen to the person's story in silence while thinking of the Buddha. She considered of the sadness and pain that lay behind the violent words. She even thanked him, saying, "Thank you for saying what is hard to say on behalf of everyone." The angry man then became calm and apologized his behavior. This spontaneous action of the branch leader was the action of the Buddha. Mrs. Nomura, her name is Nomura, Nomura-san. She did the work of the Buddha. And the Buddha appeared through Mrs. Nomura, the Shibucho. Buddha appears to those who cultivate the heart. Mrs. Nomura's Dharma journey gave me great courage for continuing my Buddhist way and for the practice of cultivating the mind. This is the talk I just wanted to share with you. So, okay, thank you very much for listening.